Now we will move on to the next topics, that is demand schedule and law of demand. Demand schedule and law of demand. The two topics that we are going to learn in this session is demand schedule and law of demand. What is a demand schedule? What is a demand schedule? Demand schedule is a table showing various quantities of a commodity demanded at various levels of price during a given period of time. How we have defined demand? Just as the same way we will explain demand schedule. Demand refers to the quantity of a commodity that a consumer is willing and able to buy at a particular price during a given period of time. Likewise, demand schedule can be explained in the same way. The only thing is that you have to add a table. Demand schedule is a table which shows the various quantities of a commodity that a consumer is willing and able to buy at a particular period of time at a given price. So, demand schedule is a table which shows different quantities of a commodity that a person is willing to buy at different prices. So it shows the table, it is a table which shows the quantities of a commodity that a consumer buys at different levels of price. At different prices, how the consumer is responding to the quantity, that is known as demand schedule. So when we define demand, it refers to the quantity of a commodity that a consumer is willing to buy at a particular price during a given period of time. Demand schedule shows the table. It is a table which shows the quantity demanded at different prices. Different quantities demanded at different prices. The concept is the same. Demand schedule will be represented in the form of a table where we can see different quantities of a good at different prices. There are two types of demand schedule. One is individual demand schedule and the other one is market demand schedule. How will we differentiate individual demand schedule and a market demand schedule? In the case of individual demand schedule, it is a table showing the quantity demanded of various commodities at different prices by an individual. But in the case of market demand schedule, it is a table which shows the quantities of a commodity which is preferred by the consumer at different prices, which is preferred by all the consumers at different prices. So in case of individual demand, we use a consumer, but in a market demand schedule, we use all the consumers. Now let us define the individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. Now demand schedule can be prepared for individual, that is known as individual demand schedule. Demand schedule can be prepared for market, that is market demand schedule. How will we define individual demand schedule? Individual demand schedule is a table showing various quantities of a commodity demanded at various levels of prices during a given period of time by a consumer. So after this, what you have to write? By a consumer. That is the only thing that you have to add. So how will you define individual demand schedule? Learn the definition of demand schedule and towards the end add this by a consumer. So how will you define that? Individual demand schedule is a table showing various quantities, different quantities of a commodity demanded at various levels of prices during a given period of time by a consumer. That is known as individual demand schedule. So likewise, how will you define market demand schedule? Market demand schedule is a table showing various quantities of a commodity demanded at various levels of price during a given period of time by all the consumers in the market. So for here you have to add by all the consumers in the market. By all the consumers in the market. This is how you write. So for individual demand schedule, we can define it. It is a table showing various quantities of a commodity demanded at various levels of prices during a given period of time by a consumer For market demand schedule, you can write it as by all the consumers in the market. So, for defining both individual demand schedule and market demand schedule, learn what is demand schedule first. Then after that, towards the end, you have to add by a consumer for individual demand schedule and for all the consumers in the market for market demand schedule. So, there are two types of demand schedule, individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. Now, let us first learn about individual demand schedule. It is a table, therefore, you should know how to prepare a table for individual demand schedule. This is the individual demand schedule. Now, for a demand schedule, what are the two basic elements which are required? From the definition itself, it is clear. It is a table showing the various quantities of a commodity. So, quantity is one variable you need, demanded at various levels of price. So, price is another component we need. So, two components that is required for a schedule is price and quantity. Price of the commodity and quantity demanded of a commodity. So, individual demand schedule is a table which shows the various levels of quantity demanded at various prices by a consumer. Here, the consumer at price rupees 5, he is demanding only 1 kg of a commodity. At price rupees 4, when the price has come down, the individual is demanding more. He is now demanding 2 kg of that commodity. When the price has come down to 2, he is demanding more. He is demanding 3 kg of quantity. Now, when the price has come down to 1 rupee, the consumer is demanding 4 kg of that commodity. So, when the price has decreased, quantity demanded has increased. That is a normal behavior of a consumer. Factors influencing the demand. I explained and I taught you, when the price of a commodity rises, demand will fall. When the price of a commodity falls, demand will rise. Obviously, it is like that. And along with that, I told you one more thing, there are some exceptional cases. If you are so brand conscious, that law is not applicable here. So, normally when the price falls, demand will increase, and when the price rises, demand will fall. So, here at a price of rupees 5, the consumer is demanding only 1 kilogram, but at price of rupees 1, consumer is demanding 4 kilogram. So, this is a table which shows different quantities of a commodities that a consumer is buying at different prices. Here different prices are 5, 4, 2, 1. Different quantities of commodities are 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, market demand schedule. Market demand schedule, we have to represent more than one consumer. Here we have taken only 2 consumers because we know there are some limitations. More and more consumers we can take, but it is very difficult to frame a table with 50 or 60 consumers and more than that. Therefore, the explanation is limited to 2 consumers, A and B. Now, this is the price given 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, household A or consumer A is demanding 1 kilogram at rupees 5, 2 kilograms at rupees 4, 3 kilograms at rupees 3, 4 kilograms at rupees 2 and 5 kilograms at rupees 1. He is demanding more when the prices come down. Similarly, household B or consumer B. Consumer B is demanding 2 kilograms at rupees 5. All the consumers are not the same. He may have a little more potential than A. That is why he is buying 2 kilograms at rupees 5. Now, at rupees 4, household B is buying 3 kilograms. At rupees 3, household B is buying 4 kilograms. At rupees 2, household B is buying 5 kilograms. At rupees 1, household B is buying 6 kilograms. Now, when we add these 2 together, the quantity of household A and quantity of household B, you will get the market demand, because market demand schedule is a table which shows the various quantities of commodities that all the consumers, here consumers are A and B, are willing to buy at different prices. Now when we add these two together, what will you get? 1 plus 2, 3, 2 plus 3, 5, 3 plus 4, 7, 4 plus 5, 9, 5 plus 6, 11. So this is the market demand. When we add the demand of both A and B, you will be getting the market demand. So hope you understood the difference between individual demand and market demand. Now we are moving on to the next topic, that is demand curve. The graphical representation of demand schedule is demand curve. Now on the basis of the schedule only we will be drawing the curve. Therefore we can define demand curve as the graphical representation of demand schedule. Now there are two types of demand schedule, individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. So obviously there will be two types of curves, which are they? Individual demand curve and market demand curve. Now individual demand curve we will be drawing with the help of individual demand schedule, and market demand curve we will be drawing with the help of market demand schedule. Now let us draw that. Demand curve is graphical representation of demand schedule. Now graphical representation of individual demand schedule. Now this is the demand schedule. I have taken the previous table itself, it's not a new one. On the basis of this schedule, I am going to represent it with the help of a graph, and that is known as individual demand curve. Now the previous table, at rupees 5, 1 kilogram, rupees 4, 2 kilograms, at rupees 3, 3 kilograms, at rupees 2, 4 kilograms, at rupees 1, 5 kilograms. So I am plotting the values here. I have already done it for you. Price is marked on the y-axis, quantity on the x-axis. 5, 1, 5, 1 can be marked here. Next is 4, 2, 4, 2. Then comes 3, 3, 3, 3. Then comes 2, 4. 2 is the price, quantity is 4. Then comes 1, 5. This is 1, 5. So here you can find price is increasing, price is decreasing, quantity is increasing. Price has decreased from 5 to 1, quantity has increased from 1 to 5. So after plotting this, if I am joining this, I will be getting the individual demand curve. This is the individual demand curve. Now what is the shape of this individual demand curve? Downward sloping. It is downward sloping. Am I right? Downward sloping. Why is it downward sloping? Because price has decreased, quantity has increased. One is falling and the other one is increasing. So normally when there is inverse relationship between two factors, obviously your curve will be downward sloping. Keep that point always in your mind. When two factors are inversely related, the curve that you are drawing will be downward sloping. So this is the individual demand curve. DD is the individual demand curve. It is downward sloping because price is decreasing, quantity is increased. Now let us draw the market demand curve. Market demand curve. So for drawing market demand curve, we need the demand curve of A, demand curve of B, and then finally the addition of 2 will give you market demand curve. This is based on the previous table that we have already discussed. Now we know that individual can be plotted here. Here I cannot draw the box because there are 3 curves which has to be drawn, therefore box is not possible. Then with these 2 I have plotted the values for the demand curve of A and demand curve of B. Now joining these 2, I have got the values 2 plus 1 3, 2 plus 3 5, 3 plus 4 7, 4 plus 5 9 and 5 plus 6 11. That is marked here and I have given the name as market demand. So 5, 3, 4, 5 price and quantity can be marked for market demand, and this is the curve for market demand. This is a market demand curve. And you can find market demand curve is more flatter than the other 2 demand curves. Why? Because market demand curve is the addition of individual demand curve of A and individual demand curve of B. That is why it is more flatter. Why it is more flatter? Because it is the addition of individual demand curve of A and individual demand curve of B, and this is the market demand curve. And what is the shape of market demand curve? That is also downward sloping. This is with regard to market demand curve. I hope that market demand curve and individual demand curve is very clear to you. Both are the graphical representation of schedules. Now we will move on to the most important topic, that is law of demand. What is this law of demand? Now, so far we learned about the relationship between price and quantity. What is the relationship between price and quantity? For a normal consumer, when the price increases, quantity demanded will come down, and when the price falls, quantity demanded will increase. That is a normal situation. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity. Inverse relationship between price and quantity. When price increases, quantity falls. When price falls, quantity increases. Therefore, there exists a negative relationship or inverse relationship between price and quantity. So, what is the law of demand? Other things remaining the same, the quantity of a commodity varies inversely with the price. The quantity of a commodity varies inversely with the price. What will you write for that? Quantity of a commodity varies inversely with the price means when price increases, demand decreases. When the price falls, demand increases. Once again, when price increases, demand will fall. When price falls, demand will increase. So this part is very clear to you. What is meant by other things remaining the same? You know what are the factors which affect the demand. We have learned which are the factors that affect the demand. Prices of a given commodity, prices of related goods, taste and preference, income of the consumer, season, population, distribution of income, etc. Now, this is what is inversely related to the quantity demanded. Let all other things remains to be the same. There is no change in all other factors. All these factors we are assuming to be constant with no change. That is known as other things remaining the same. These other things means P, R, T, Y, S, P, D. These are the other things mentioned in this sentence. Let all these remains to be constant, the same. Let only this factor change. This factor means price of the given commodity. Being other things remaining to be constant, price of a commodity varies inversely with the quantity. That is known as law of demand. So, other things remaining the same means all other factors except the price of the commodity remaining to be the constant, remaining to be same. So, only price is changing. Price is inversely related to quantity. Now, we will move on to exceptions to the law of demand. As per the law of demand, now one more thing I want to say, this law of demand is also known as the first law of purchase. So, keep in mind the law of demand is also known as the first law of purchase. Other things remaining to be the same. Other things are P, R, Y, T, S, D, etc. remaining to be the same. The quantity of a commodity varies inversely with Px, price of the given commodity. Okay. Now, we will move on to exceptions to the law of demand. What does the law of demand says? When the price increases, demand falls. When the price decreases, demand will increase. That will not happen always. There are certain exceptional cases. Now, one small exceptional case that I have already told you. What is it? When the price increases, your demand will fall. That may not happen always. If you are so brand conscious, if the price of your favorite product increases, you are not bothered about it. You will buy that because you are brand conscious. So, certain cases, law of demand will not work. Let us see which are the exceptional cases. Exceptions to the law of demand. Exceptions to the law of demand. First one is giffen goods. What are these giffen goods? Giffen goods are also known as inferior goods. Giffen goods are also known as inferior goods. What are inferior goods? Jowar, bajra, etc. Now, these inferior goods are consumed by the low income groups. Now, if suppose the 1 kg of bajra is of 20 rupees. Okay. Now, when the price of this bajra increases to 23 rupees, then also the demand will not fall here, because for this income group there is no other option. They can buy, or they have the potential to buy only bajra. Therefore, even the price of this bajra increases, demand will not fall. Demand will keep on increasing only. As a member of the family increases, demand for bajra increases, even its price has increased from 20 to 23, because they don't have any other option. That is why for different goods, when the price increases, demand keeps on increasing. Do the law of demand is working here? No. As per the law of demand, when the price increases, demand should decrease. Here the law is not working, because it is different goods. Different goods means inferior goods. Inferior goods are consumed by the low income groups. So, even if the price of these goods increases, the low income groups are willing to buy that, because there is no other option in front of them. Now, Sir Robert Giffen is a person who has propounded this theory of Giffen goods. So, the Giffen good is named after the economist Sir Robert Giffen. Giffen goods are inferior goods which are consumed by low income groups. Their demand goes on increasing even if the price increases, because there is no other option in front of them. Now, the next one is ignorance regarding the price. Some consumers are very ignorant regarding the price. They are not even bothered regarding the price. They will simply go on buying the products without comparing and observing the price difference or price variations. So, for such consumers, the law of demand will not work. Next is demonstration effect. Nowadays, we are very much interested to demonstrate the Western style, isn't it? Now, the richer sections of people, whatever they are wearing, whatever they are using, it is demonstrated by the lower income groups. So, the lower income groups will try to demonstrate, they will follow what the richer sections are trying to do. So, even though the price is higher for certain goods, the lower income groups will try to achieve that somehow. They are not at all bothered about the price. So, that can also be an exception to the law of demand, demonstration effect. Next one is necessities of life. There are certain goods which are very much necessary for our life. So, for those commodities, law of demand will not work. For example, a patient who is very seriously admitted in the hospital, the medicine, the price of the medicine is very high. Will you wait for the price to become low? Never. You will buy the product. There the law of demand will not work. You will not wait for the price to come down to demand more, because the patient is more important, isn't it? Therefore, you will buy the medicine, right? There the law of demand will not work. You will buy the medicine at any cost. Law of demand will not work there. Next comes fear of shortage. Some of the people are very conscious that if that commodity is becoming shortage in the future, what we will do. So, thinking of that, they will purchase more and more at present, even if its price is higher. So, fear of the shortage in the future makes the people to buy more and more, even if its price is high. There the law of demand will not work. Then comes the next one, status symbol. Some people, to get projected in the society, they will buy certain things such as gold, precious stones, diamond, etc. So, to keep up their social status or prestige, they will buy that even if its price is higher, because they want to keep up their prestige and social status. There the law of demand will not work, because those people will buy that even if its price is high. And they find pleasure in saying that we bought these things even if its price is high, to keep up the prestige or social status. That is known as Veblen effect. Next is fashion related goods. People will try to change their costumes and so many other things related to fashion. So, there also the law of demand will not work. They want to buy that product even if its price is higher. There the demand law will not work. So these are the exceptions of the law of demand. Exceptions are Giffen goods, ignorance relating to price, then demonstration effect, then necessities of life, fear of shortage, status symbol, and fashion related goods. That's all.